Good day everyone, my name is Kelly Shanmoyko together with my partner Irene Kaluya. So ngayon, ang pag-uusapan natin yung pinaka-humanistic sa lahat ng humanistic na theory, which is si Carl Rogers.
Biography of Carl Rogers. First is Carl Ramson Rogers was born on January 8, 1902 in Oak Park, Illinois. He died on February 4, 1987 at the age of 85 in San Diego, California, United States. He is the best known as the founder of client-centered therapy. He was also an influential American psychologist who, along with Abraham Maslow, founded the humanistic approach to psychology. He was the fourth of 6 children born to Walter and Julia Cushing Rogers. Walter and Julia Rogers were both devotedly religious, and Carl became interested in the Bible.
So, nung una talaga, ang gustong maging trabaho ni Carl Rogers is maging isang farmer, and not just a farmer but a scientific farmer. So, nung kabataan niya ay gumagawa siya ng mga experiments, ninote niya yung mga results na yun, and tinitignan niya kung ano nga ba yung mga effective na ways para mas dumami or mas magbunga yung mga halaman na tinatanim nila. But eventually, nung tumatanda na siya, nag-shift ng konti yung kanyang interest. So, mas naging focus siya sa kanyang religious devotion to the point na nangarap siya maging religious minister. Yun nga lang, hindi natuloy ang kanyang seminary stream because nag-shift siya to clinical and educational psychology.
Overview of client-centered theory. Carl Rogers developed a humanistic theory of personality that grew out of his experiences as a practicing psychotherapist. Unlike Freud, who was primarily a theorist and secondarily a therapist, Rogers was a consummate therapist but only a reluctant theorist. His personal preference was to be a helper of people and not a constructor of theories.
So, as a psychologist major, ang kanyang focus ay therapy. So, he is more on therapist rather than a theorist, unlike kay Freud na more on theories. So, anyway, nag-gain siya ng following dahil sa practice niya. And then, eventually, na-recognize siya ng APA, and yun nga, ginawa siyang president ng American Psychological Association noong 1946 to 1947. So, dahil nga mas focus siya sa practice therapy, hindi niya kaagad sinulat or hindi niya kaagad na formalize yung kanyang theory. Pero dahil na nga sa pressure ng madla, eventually na formalize niya na yung kanyang theory na person-centered theory. So, ano nga ba yung person-centered theory?
So, person-centered theory or therapy is based on the underlying belief that every person has both the ability and the desire to reach their potential through personal growth and change. This natural inclination is called the self-actualizing tendency. This is the ability to self-actualize derives from a person's capacity for self-understanding and for changing their own self-concept as well as their attitude and behavior.
So, yung person-centered theory is about sa importansya ng individual na karanasan at pananaw sa pag-unlad ng isang tao. Ito ay ginagamit sa iba't ibang larangan ng counseling at psychotherapy at nagpapakita ng epekto at pagbabago at pag-unlad ng mga individual sa kanilang personal na buhay at mga relasyon. So, may dalawang basic assumption si Rogers.
So, Rogers have two basic assumptions. First is the formative tendency. Rogers believed that there is a tendency for all matter, both organic and inorganic, to evolve from simpler to more complex forms.
So, naniniwala si Rogers na lahat ng bagay sa mundo, whether yung organic man or inorganic, ay may tendency na mag-evolve from simple form to a more complex form. Makikita daw natin ito sa nature. So, halimbawa sa bio, nabanggit, diba? Sa bio, yung protons, neutrons, electrons. So, halimbawa, ng pag pinagsama-sama yung protons, neutron, electrons, magiging elements. And kapag yung elements nagsama-sama, magiging compounds. While kapag nagsama-sama na, yung compounds na katulad ng amino acid is magsasama-sama para maging RNA, and eventually magiging single cells organism. Tapos gagawa ng DNA, and then eventually magiging multicellular organisms, and then magiging mga animals, and then eventually yung mga animals na yun magkakaroon ng awareness na buhay sila, and then magkakaroon ng anxiety na one day mamatay sila na tinatawag na formative tendency.
The actualizing tendency is an interrelated and more pertinent assumption is the actualizing tendency, or the tendency within all humans and other animals and plants to move toward completion or fulfillment of potentials. It is the need for maintenance is similar to the lower step on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It includes such as basic needs as food, air, and safety. This need to become more, to develop, and to achieve growth is called enhancement. The need for enhancing the self is seen in people's willingness to learn things that are not immediately rewarding.
Sabi ni Rogers, ang mga organisms katulad ng mga halaman, hayop, at saka tayong mga tao may tendency to fulfill our own potential. So, ang tawag niya dito ay actualizing tendency. Halimbawa, yung mga plants, ang kanilang first form ay being a binhi, or sa English, seed. So, eventually, if they have a right condition, is pwede sila maging puno or halaman na namumunga ng prutas, iba't ibang prutas. So, ganun din ang mga human beings. We have a tendency na gusto nating ma-fulfill yung full potential natin, and ayon kay Roger, ito ang isang nagiging motivation natin sa buhay.
Next, the self and self-actualization. Self-actualization is a subset of the actualization tendency and is therefore not as synonymous with it. The actualization tendency refers to organismic experiences of the individual. That is, it refers to the whole person, conscious and unconscious, psychological and cognitive. On the other hand, self-actualization is the tendency to actualize the self as perceived in awareness.
So, ito yung reasons daw kung bakit tayo gumigising ng maaga para isakatuparan yung ating pangarap or yung self-actualization natin. So, pagkapanganak natin and habang tumatanda tayo, following the formative tendency, eventually makakapag-create tayo ng awareness. And this awareness becomes our sense or self. Ito yung ako ito. So, Rogers postulated two self-subsystem: self-concept and ideal self.
First is the self-concept. It includes all those aspects of one's being and one's experiences that are perceived in awareness, though not always accurately by the individual. The self-concept is not identical with the organismic self.
Ideally, ang mabubuo nating self-concept is dapat congruent or parehas sa self na meron tayo as an organisms. So, yung organismic self, aka real self, ito yung tayo, or ikaw, or ako na yun talaga. Kasi ang self-concept is limited lang sa kung ano yung aware tayo. And alam naman natin na sa self natin, marami tayong mga bagay-bagay sa sarili natin na hindi tayo aware. For example, ang gastrointestinal tract natin, hindi naman natin alam yan. Kapag sinasabing magpakilala ka, halimbawa ko, hindi ko naman sabihin na ako si Kelly Shan Moyko and meron akong mabait na gastrointestinal tract. Wala namang ganun, di ba? So, tinitignan lang natin kung anong aware tayo. So, anyway, ang organismic self includes everything about us. Even sa mga things na hindi tayo aware, like yung mga personality traits natin na hindi tayo aware and so on. So, kapag ang organismic self natin at self-concept ay halos parehas, sila ay magiging healthy ang development ng personality natin kasi aware tayo kung sino tayo. Yun nga lang, hindi laging ganun ang nangyayari. Hindi ganun yung flow minsan ng buhay natin. May mga times na hindi lapat yung organismic self sa self-concept dahil meron mga balakid sa psychological health ng isang tao.
Next is the ideal self. The second subsystem of the self is the ideal self, defined as one's views of self as one wishes to be. The ideal self contains all those attributes usually positive that people aspire to possess.
So, last, the ideal self is something that exists of all of us. Yun nga lang, hindi siya problem itself. Kumbaga, okay nga na may ideal self ka because you're aiming to be more than your organismic self. So, parang kay Freud lang yung ego, superego, pero parang kay Rogers dito, yung organismic self is yung ating id, while yung self-concept natin is yung ating ego, and lastly, is yung ideal self natin is yung ating superego.
Awareness. Without awareness, the self-concept and the ideal self would not exist. He defined awareness as the symbolic representation, not necessarily in verbal symbols, of some portion of our experience. So there are 3 levels of awareness. First is some events are experienced below the threshold of awareness and are either ignored or denied.
Of course, sa buhay natin, hindi naman natin napapansin lahat. Ibig sabihin, may mga bagay sa paligid natin or experiences natin sa buhay na hindi natin nabibigyan focus ng attention or nadadenay natin or nai-ignore natin sila. Halimbawa, sa una is yung teenage pregnancy. So, yung mga teenage girls na nagkakaroon ng baby sa murang edad, like, mostly naman, mapansin natin, may planado naman and may hindi planado, pero mostly talaga hindi planado, kaya maraming teenage pregnancy or mataas yung bilang na sa Pilipinas ng teenage pregnancy dito. So, halimbawa, yun nga, yung teenage pregnancy is nagkaroon sila ng baby and sa hindi inaasahan. And ang nangyayari is dinedeny or ini-ignore nila yon. Minsan yung iba ginagawa is pinapalaglag, yung iba naman is tinutuloy. So dito, ang nangyayari is napansin natin, wala naman tayo nakita nating na dininay or ignore nila. Ang ginagawa ng iba is sinasabi nila na blessing in disguise tong bata, blessings to, bigay to ni Lord, so hindi to pagkakamali. So dun pa lang is yung pagkakaroon nila ng baby sa wala pa sa hustong gulang is pagkakamali na. So dun pa lang dinedeny na nila yon, ini-ignore na nila yon. So sinasabi lang nila na blessing to para hindi sila mabash or hindi sila sabihan ng kung ano-ano.
Second, Rogers hypothesized that some experiences are accurately symbolized and freely admitted to the self-structure, such as experiences are both non-threatening and consistent with the existing self-concept.
Pangalawa, so we all know we have a self-concept, and if the experience is somehow not threatening, kumbaga wala ka ng pakialam doon or even consistent your self-concept, usually inaccurate symbolize mo yan, parang tinatanggap mo yan as it is. Halimbawa, sa pangalawa, halimbawa is, so parang kunwari yung self-concept mo as a person is, I am intelligent, and then syempre may experience ka na mas mataas yung score mo, parang kukunin mo yung experience na yun na, because I'm intelligent, that's why I got this. Kasi consistent naman siya. Consistent yung self-concept mo, so tatanggapin mo siya.
Lastly, awareness involves experiences that are perceived in a distorted form. When our experience is not consistent with our view of self, we reshape or distort the experience so that it can be assimilated into our existing self-concept.
Pangatlo is, example, yung self-concept mo is very intelligent. And then, ang grade mo sa math is naging 76. Magkakaroon ka ng incongruent. So, hindi sila lapat. Eto, sabihin mo, matalino ako, diba? So, bakit ako naka-76 sa math? So, as a person, can distort dyan. So, pwede natin isipin na, yung teacher kasi hindi marunong magturo, ganyan-ganyan. Yung teacher kasi, mababa magbigay ng grade. So, yung distortion mo is neither true or false. Parang subjective perception din yan ni Adler.
Denial positive experiences. Any experience not consistent with the self-concept, even positive experiences will be distorted or denied. Our example of the gifted pianist illustrates that it is not only the negative or derogatory experiences that are distorted or denied. Many people have difficulty accepting genuine compliments and positive feedback, even when deserved.
Denial positive experiences. Pwede nating balikan, for example, ang self-concept ng tao. Mababa yung self-esteem niya, ang alam niya, hindi siya marunong Ang alam niya, bobo siya or something like that. May mga taong ganun. So, pag ganun na nangyari, pag ganun yung perception niya sa sarili niya, may tendency na yung distortion niya is like this. Pag meron nagsabi sa kanya na, huy, ang galing mo, huy, ang taas mo, huy, ang talino mo, ganun. Ang gagawin nila, i-distort nila yon or i-deny nila yon. I-deny nila yung mga positive experiences na yon kasi hindi ganun yung self-concept nila. Hindi sila ganun.
So, he discussed the process necessary to becoming a person. First, an individual must make contact positive or negative with another person. Positive regard, that is, the person develops a need to be loved, liked, or accepted by another person. A need that he referred to as a positive regard. If we perceive that others, especially significant others, care for, prize, or value us, then our need to receive positive regard is at least partially satisfied.
Positive regards. So, habang lumalaki tayo, hinahanap natin yung aruga and support ng mga caregivers o yung mga taong nakapaligid sa atin. So, ang tawag dito ay positive regards. Yung parang positibo yung pagkakatingin nila sa atin. Kaya naman, ginagawa natin ang lahat para ma-receive yung positive regards from our parents, friends, and even society natin as a whole. So, ito kasi kapag naramdaman natin yung positive regards natin na yun, tumataas yung worth natin and yung self-worth natin. Kumbaga, nafe-feel natin na may value tayo as a person para sa isang taong yun or para sa ibang tao. Yun nga lang, may times na yung positive regards na to is conditional. So, for example, sasabihin ng magulang ng isang bata sa anak na, anak, mag-top 1 ka para kapag top 1 ka, ibibigay ko sa'yo ang kahit anong gusto mo. So if you do this, then I will give you a positive regard. So, but of course, whatever the good intention ng parent sa pagsabi niya ng gano'n sa kanyang anak is may certain effects ito. Kasi nangyayari, nagkakaroon ng condition yung isang tao bago niya ma-recognize yung kanyang worth as a person. And kapag hindi niya na-meet yung condition niya, eventually, nagkakaroon siya ng self-doubt sa kanyang value as a person. Nagiging source ito ng mga iba't ibang psychopathology. Ang tawag ni Carl Rogers dito ay condition of worth. And kapag ang bata ay pinalaki na merong malaking condition of worth, mahirapan siyang hanapin or tanggapin yung kanyang organismic self or yung real self kasi laging may pressure sa outside world. Merong external evaluation lagi na kailangan niyang i-meet para magkaroon siya ng worth as a person.
Lastly, is the positive self-regard. It is defined as the experience of prizing or valuing oneself. He believed that receiving positive regard from others is necessary for positive self-regard. But once positive self-regard is established, it becomes independent of the continual need to be loved.
Lastly, ang positive self-regard ay nagpapahiwatig naman ng pagiging bukas or pagtanggap or pag-unawa natin sa sarili natin. Pati na rin na sa kakayahan nating magmahal at magpahalaga sa sarili sa kabila ng mga limitasyon at mga pagkukulang. Ito ay naglalarawan ng isang positibong kaisipan at emosyonal na kalagayan na mahalaga para sa pangkalatang kagalingan at kasiyahan ng isang individual.
Good day everyone, my name is Jemima Erin F. Kaluya and I will proceed to discuss the barriers to psychological health. So, not everyone becomes a psychological healthy person. Most people experience conditions of worth, incongruence, defensiveness, and disorganization. So, sa conditions of worth, most people grow up with the belief that they are only valued if they meet certain expectations set by others, leading to conditions of worth. These conditions shape how we perceive ourselves and our expectations, often causing us to ignore our true feelings and rely on external validation. This reliance on others' approval can create inner conflict and prevent us from fully embracing our own expectations, resulting in a sense of incongruence between our true selves and the expectations imposed by others. So, the next barrier is incongruence. So, sa concept ni Carl Rogers tungkol sa incongruence, ang importante ay ang pagkakaroon ng pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng kung sino ka at kung sino ang gusto mong maging. In other words, ito ay tungkol sa hindi pagkakatugma ng iyong sarili, pag-unlad at ng mga hangarin mo para sa iyong sarili. Halimbawa, kung ang isang tao ay nagnanais maging isang artist pero sa kanyang puso ay pakiramdam niya hindi siya sapat o karapat-dapat na maging ganon. May incongruence na nangyayari. It can lead to self-doubt, a lack of self-acceptance, and an overall sense of dissatisfaction in life. So the next barrier is vulnerability. Yung idea ni Carl Rogers sa vulnerability refers to a person's ability to express their true feelings, needs, and weaknesses without fear of judgment or doubt. By being vulnerable, genuine connections with others become possible because it opens the door to understanding and empathy. Greater the incongruence between our perceived self-concept and our organic experience, the more vulnerable we are. So next is anxiety and dread. Anxiety arises when there's a mismatch between a person's dreams and ambitions and their actual experiences. This can result in a fear of apprehension about the future, especially if there's concern about how others might react. On the other hand, dread stems from a person feeling deeply unaccepted or not understanding their own feelings and experiences. This can lead to low self-esteem and self-rejection. Overall, anxiety and dread indicate a mismatch between who you are and who you want to be, which can hinder personal growth and happiness in life. Next is defensiveness. Ang defensiveness ay tumutukoy sa mga paraan ng isang tao upang ipagtanggol ang kanilang sarili laban sa mga sitwasyon o impormasyon na maaaring banta sa kanilang self-concept o pagtingin sa kanilang sarili. Ang defensive reactions ay maaaring maging resulta ng hindi pagtanggap sa sarili o ng takot sa pagkakaroon ng hindi magandang imprenta sa iba. For example, kapag may nagbigay ng kritisismo o feedback na hindi pa pabor sa isang tao, maaaring umiiral ang defensiveness sa pamamagitan ng pagtanggi o pagbibigay ng depensa sa sariling panig. Ayon kay Rogers, ang defensiveness ay maaaring maging hadlang sa personal na pag-unlad dahil ito ay nagpapahiwatig ng hindi pagtanggap sa sarili at mga pagkakataon upang matuto at magbago. Kaya mahalaga na maging bukas at maunawaan ang sarili upang malampasan ang mga hadlang na ito at magpatuloy sa pag-unlad at pagbabago. Ang sunod ay disorganization. So, disorganization refers to the lack of harmony or coherence within an individual's self-concept. It occurs when there's a significant disparity between a person's ideal self and their actual experiences or behaviors. Para maipaliwanag ito ng mas malinaw, isipin mo na parang may pagkalito o pagkabahala sa loob ng isang tao dahil sa hindi pagkakatugma ng kanilang mga hangarin at kung ano talaga ang kanilang nararanasan o ginagawa. For example, someone might envision themselves as confident and ongoing, but their actions and feelings constantly demonstrate insecurity and introversion. Sa ganitong sitwasyon, may disorganization sa kanilang self-concept. Dako naman tayo sa psychotherapy. In Carl Rogers' therapy, the client-centered approach may sound simple, but it's tough to put into action. Basically, it says that people dealing with issues need to connect with a therapist who really accepts them without any conditions and shows genuine empathy. But here's the catch. It's not easy for a counselor to be genuinely accepting, offer unconditional positive regard, and truly understand. conditions. Una sa lahat, sabi ni Rogers, para magkaroon ng pag-uunlad sa therapy, kailangan may mga sumusunod na kondisyon. Una, dapat may contact ang isang anxious o vulnerable na client sa isang congruent na therapist na may empatya at unconditional positive regard para sa client na iyon. Pangalawa, dapat ma-perceive ng client ang mga katangiang ito sa therapist. At panghuli, dapat mayroong duration ang contact sa pagitan ng client at therapist. Kahit na lahat ng tatlong kondisyon ay kailangan para sa psychological growth, pinaniniwalaan ni Rogers na ang congruence ay may basic kaysa sa unconditional positive regard o empathetic listening. Ang congruence ay isang pangkalahatang kalidad na mayroon ang therapist, habang ang dalawang iba pang kondisyon ay mga partikular na damdamin o attitude na meron ang therapist para sa isang client. So, ano nga ba ang tatlong ito? Counselor congruence. In therapy, it's crucial para sa counselor na maging congruent o genuine sa kanilang emotions at reactions. This means hindi sila nagpapanggap or nagtatago ng kanilang true feelings. Ang isang congruent counselor ay buo at honest, hindi lang friendly. They don't conceal their real emotions at hindi rin nagpapanggap na mabait kung hindi nila talaga ito na-feel. Pangalawa, ang unconditional positive regard. So, ang unconditional positive regard ay ang pagtanggap at pagpapahalaga ng mga therapist sa kanilang mga kliyente nang walang anumang kondisyon o paghuhusga. Ito ay naglalaman ng init at pagtanggap ng hindi sinusubukan na kontrolin o impluwensyahan ang mga desisyon ng kliyente. Pinigyan din ni Rogers na ang ganitong pananaw ay nagtataguyod ng autonomy at psychological growth, hindi ang passiveness sa therapy. Nagbibigay ito ng daan para sa mga kliyente na maramdaman ang pag-unawa at suporta na nagpapalakas sa kanilang personalidad at pag-unlad. So, pinapanatili ng mga therapies ang patuloy na positibong pananaw sa kabila ng pag-uugali ng kliyente na iniiwasan ang paghusga na maaring hadlang sa pag-unlad ng psychological growth ng kliyente. Next ay empathic listening. Empathic listening ay mahalaga para sa psychological growth kung saan ang mga therapist ay makatotohanang makakapag-communicate ng mga damdamin ng kanilang mga kliyente nang walang paghusga. It allows client to feel understood and safe, facilitating their exploration of their experiences. Unlike sympathy, empathy involves feeling with the client, not for them, and it helps clients listen to themselves, becoming their own therapist. Empathy fosters a deeper connection and promotes clients' self-exploration and growth. Sunod ay process. So, dito yung stages of therapeutic changes. So, merong stage 1 is characterized by an unwillingness to communicate anything about self. And then stage 2, clients become slightly less rigid. Stage 3, they more freely talk about self, although still as an object. Stage 4 began to talk of deep feelings but not once presently felt. Stage 5, they have begun to undergo significant change and growth. Ang proseso ng pagbabago sa therapy ay nagsisimula kapag mayroong therapist in congruence, unconditional positive regard, at empathy. In the later stages, like stages 6 and 7, clients experience significant transformation moving towards becoming fully functioning and authentic. By stage 7, clients become fully functional individuals capable of being true to themselves and others while continuing to collaborate for growth. Next is theoretical explanation for therapeutic change. Sa paliwanag ni Rogers, ang dynamics ng therapeutic change ay maipapaliwanag sa pamamagitan ng pagpapahalaga at unconditional acceptance ng sarili, pagkakaroon ng empathy sa sariling damdamin at pagiging congruent sa sariling mga karanasan. When clients experience these aspects towards becoming their own therapists. At ang panghuli, ito ay outcomes. Once the process of therapeutic change begins, several expected outcomes can be observed. Ang pangunahing resulta ng successful client-centered therapy ay ang pagiging congruent ng kliyente na mas bukas sa karanasan at mas hindi defensive. Dahil dito, mas malinaw ang pangunahing resulta ng successful client-centered ay ang pagiging congruent ng kliyente na mas bukas sa karanasan at hindi mas defensive. Dahil dito, mas malinaw na nakikita ng mga kliyente ang kanilang sarili at mas realistic na tingin sa mundo. Clients become better at problem solving and have higher levels of positive self-regard. So, dako naman tayo sa the person of tomorrow. Sa teorya ni Rogers, tinutukoy ang mga katangian ng isang person of tomorrow na umuusbong mula sa optimal na pagkakaroon ng tatlong kondisyon sa therapy: congruence, unconditional positive regard, at empathy. These individuals would be more adaptable, open to experience, and trust their instincts, fostering confidence in their own judgment. They would live fully in the present, free from prior biases, and seek genuine connections with others while catering for them without judgment. Ultimately, they would enjoy a richer life experiencing deeper emotions and fully engaging in each moment.
Merong posibleng characteristics kapag na-meet ang tatlong necessary and sufficient therapeutic conditions of congruence, unconditional positive regard, and empathy. Ito ang mga iyon.
Dako na tayo sa panghuling topic natin. Ito ang philosophy of science. O sa filosofiya ni Rogers, nagsisimula at nagtatapos ang agham sa personal na karanasan, bagaman ang lahat sa pagitan ay dapat maging objektibo at empirical. So, scientists must possess many traits of a person open to exchange, open to experience, self-trusting, and embracing change. Rogers believed scientists should be fully engaged in the phenomena they study, and their methods should be rigorous yet objective. While scientific communication is subjective, it's influenced by individuals' readiness to accept findings on their personal experience. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig at dito na po nagtatapos ang report.